The year 2025 saw a dramatic escalation in global trade tensions. At the heart of this storm was President Trump's Liberation Day policy. This policy marked a significant shift in U.S. trade policy. It aimed to rewrite the rules of global trade. On this day, the U.S. imposed tariffs on almost all its trading partners. These tariffs were not insignificant. They represented a 10% levy on goods entering the United States. China, however, found itself in the eye of the storm. Trump imposed a hefty 34% tariff on Chinese imports. This move sent shockwaves through the global economy. It was a clear signal of Trump's determination to confront what he perceived as unfair trade practices by China. The world watched with bated breath as two economic giants locked horns. The impact of these tariffs was immediate. Stock markets around the world tumbled. Businesses, both in the U.S. and abroad, braced for the impact. This was not just a trade war, it was a battle for economic dominance. The Liberation Day policy and the tariffs on China were a culmination of Trump's long-held beliefs. He had campaigned on a platform of economic nationalism. Trump believed that other countries were taking advantage of the United States. He promised to bring back jobs and protect American industries. The tariffs were his weapon of choice in this economic battle. Trump's rationale for the tariffs was multifaceted. He repeatedly argued that China was engaging in unfair trade practices. These included intellectual property theft and currency manipulation. These practices, according to Trump, were costing American jobs and harming the U.S. economy. Another key argument put forward by the Trump administration was the need to reduce the trade deficit with China. The U.S. was importing far more from China than it was exporting. This imbalance, Trump argued, was unsustainable and needed to be addressed. Furthermore, Trump believed that the tariffs would incentivize companies to bring manufacturing back to the United States. He argued that this would create jobs and boost the American economy. The tariffs were a tool to reshape global trade in a way that benefited American workers and industries. The Trump administration also argued that the tariffs were a negotiating tactic. They believed that the threat of tariffs or the actual imposition of tariffs would bring China to the negotiating table. The goal was to secure a trade deal that addressed the U.S.'s concerns. China's response to Trump's tariffs was swift and decisive. Beijing refused to be bullied. It accused the U.S. of engaging in unilateralism, protectionism, and economic bullying. China retaliated with its own tariffs on U.S. goods. These tariffs were strategically targeted at key American exports. The tit-for-tat tariff battle between the two economic giants sent shockwaves through the global economy. Businesses around the world were caught in the crossfire. Supply chains were disrupted. The International Monetary Fund warned of a global economic slowdown. The tariffs also strained relations between the U.S. and its allies. The European Union, Canada, and other countries expressed concern over Trump's actions. They argued that the tariffs were harmful to the global economy. Some countries even threatened retaliatory tariffs of their own. Trump's tariff war did not achieve its stated goals. The trade deficit with China did not disappear. Global supply chains were disrupted, leading to higher prices for consumers. The tariffs also hurt American businesses that relied on Chinese imports. The global economy found itself in uncharted territory. The trade war between the U.S. and China created a climate of uncertainty and volatility. Businesses were hesitant to invest. Consumers were worried about rising prices. The future of the global trading system hung in the balance. The tariffs had a significant impact on specific industries. American farmers, for example, were hit hard by Chinese retaliatory tariffs on agricultural products. The manufacturing sector, which Trump had promised to protect, also faced challenges as tariffs increased the cost of imported materials. The tariffs also accelerated a trend towards deglobalization. Countries and companies began to rethink their reliance on global supply chains. There was a move towards more regionalized trade. This had the potential to reshape the global economic order. The trade war between the U.S. and China was a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of the global economy. It highlighted the risks of protectionism and the importance of international cooperation. The world watched nervously as the two superpowers continued their economic standoff, the outcome of which remained uncertain.